The morning sun peeked through the blinds of Olivia Martinez's small apartment. She opened her eyes and stretched, her gaze falling on the stack of aviation magazines beside her bed. Just another day in Riverbrook, Nebraska, she thought as she got ready for her shift at Bean There Coffee Shop. Olivia was 32 years old with dark hair that she kept in a practical ponytail. Most people in town knew her as the quiet barista who made excellent lattes and kept to herself. She had lived in Riverbrook for almost 7 years now, and the locals had stopped asking questions about her past. That was exactly how she wanted it. What no one in town knew was that 15 years ago, Olivia had been Captain Martinez, one of the Air Force's most talented experimental aircraft pilots. Her natural abilities in the cockpit had made her a legend in classified circles. But after an incident that remained hidden in government files, she had disappeared from military records. Now she poured coffee instead of flying supersonic jets, and that was fine with her. "Morning, Frank," Olivia said as she passed her elderly neighbor in the hallway. Frank Miller, a retired mechanic with kind eyes and a permanent grease stain on his hands, smiled back. "Morning, Olivia. Beautiful day for flying, don't you think?" Frank was the only person who seemed to notice how Olivia's eyes always followed planes crossing the sky. He never pressed her about it, though, and she appreciated that. "Perfect day," she agreed, glancing up at the clear blue sky before heading to work. The coffee shop was busy that morning. Olivia moved with efficiency behind the counter, her hands sure and steady as she operated the espresso machine. Her boss, Debbie, often said Olivia had the focus of a surgeon when she worked. "Did you hear about that weird thing they spotted over Chicago?" Debbie asked as they worked side by side. "What weird thing?" Olivia asked, though she had already read about it online. Strange lights in the sky, moving in ways that defied normal aircraft capabilities. "They're saying it might be, Debbie lowered her voice. "Not from around here." Olivia shrugged. "Probably just military testing something new." She knew better than most what experimental aircraft could do, but something about the reports had bothered her. The movements described didn't match any technology she had ever worked with. Later that afternoon, the coffee shop's television, usually tuned to daytime talk shows, switched to breaking news. Customers gathered around as the reporter spoke with barely controlled panic. "We're getting confirmed reports of massive objects appearing in the skies over major cities worldwide. New York, London, Beijing, Moscow, and more than 20 other locations report the same phenomenon." The camera cut to live footage of an enormous ship hovering over Los Angeles. It was unlike anything Olivia had ever seen. Dark metal with strange blue lights pulsing along its surface, and bigger than several football fields. "This is not a drill or a hoax," the reporter continued. "The president will address the nation." Within the hour, the coffee shop erupted in scared chatter. Olivia stood frozen, her trained eye assessing the craft on screen. The way it hovered defied Earth's physics. The propulsion system wasn't creating any visible air disturbance. This was real. Over the next few days, the world learned more about the visitors, who called themselves the Zyrexians. They made no aggressive moves, but announced through worldwide broadcasts that they needed human subjects for compatibility testing with their technology. The message was polite but firm. Cooperation was not optional. World governments attempted negotiations, but it became clear that Earth's military forces were hopelessly outmatched. When the Zyrexians wanted something, they took it. Olivia watched the news reports from her rooftop each night after work. She recognized the situation for what it was, an invasion, even if it wasn't the kind shown in movies. No city-destroying weapons, just an overwhelming show of technological superiority, and the clear message that humans were now the lesser species. Reports began to emerge of civilians being taken, not randomly, but after some kind of scanning process. The Zyraxians appeared to be looking for specific traits. You think they'll come here? Frank asked one evening, joining her on the roof with 2 cups of hot chocolate. Eventually, Olivia said. They're working their way through smaller cities now. Frank studied her face. You don't seem as scared as everyone else. Being scared doesn't help, she replied, the response of someone trained for crisis situations. Frank nodded slowly. You know, I've always thought there was more to you than coffee making, Olivia. She smiled but said nothing. 3 weeks after the first ships appeared, Riverbrook had its turn. A smaller Zyraxian vessel descended on the town early in the morning. Hovering drones with flashing lights ordered everyone to gather in the town square. Resistance was met with a paralyzing energy beam that left victims conscious, but unable to move. Standing in the square with her neighbors, Olivia assessed her. Options. Running was pointless. Fighting was suicide. For now, observation was her best strategy. The drones moved through the crowd, scanning each person with a blue light. Most people were scanned and then left alone. A few were marked with a yellow glow and escorted to a separate area. When the scan reached Olivia, something different happened. The drone paused, emitted a series of high-pitched tones, and its light turned bright green. This hadn't happened with anyone else. Minutes later, 2 tall, blue-skinned Zyraxians approached her. Directly. They were at least 7 feet tall, with 4 arms and large, unblinking eyes. You will come with us, one said in perfect English. Your mural patterns show exceptional promise. As they escorted her toward their ship, Frank shouted from the crowd, Olivia, what do they want with you? I don't know, she called back, though a suspicion was forming in her mind. They had somehow detected what she had been hiding for years. The aliens guided her up a ramp into their ship. The hidden pilot was about to fly again, but this time the stakes were higher than just her own survival. As the door closed behind her, Olivia took one last look at the town that had been her safe haven. She had a feeling she wouldn't be serving coffee again anytime soon. Inside the Zyraxian ship, Olivia was led through a series of curved hallways. The walls glowed with a soft blue light. She kept her face blank, hiding her thoughts as she took in every detail. The floor hummed beneath her feet. This was nothing like the experimental aircraft she had flown, but her mind automatically noted exits, control panels, and the patterns of the aliens' movements. The 2 Zyraxians brought her to a large chamber filled with what like flight simulators. Each machine had a seat surrounded by floating screens and strange controls. Most were empty, but a few held humans who appeared confused and scared as they tried to operate the alien technology. A taller Zyraxian approached. This one wore a uniform with glowing symbols that Olivia guessed showed rank. Human, the tall. Alien said, our scans detected something rare in your brain. You have neural pathways similar to our best pilots. This is uncommon among your kind. Olivia blinked, careful not to show recognition. I don't understand. I'm just a coffee shop worker. The alien's large eyes studied her face. Your brain tells a different story. You will be tested. They guided her to an empty simulator. The seat adjusted to her size as she sat down. The controls were unlike anything she had seen before. No stick or yoke, just curved panels that responded to touch and floating symbols that changed color when she looked at them. Begin with basic navigation, the alien instructed. Move the craft forward. Olivia hesitated, then cautiously placed her. Hands on the panels. Nothing happened. You must connect your thoughts to the controls, the alien said. Imagine the movement. Olivia had trained on thought-responsive systems before, though much more primitive ones. She focused on moving forward, and the simulator hummed. On the main screen, a virtual craft began to move. Hood, the alien said. Now turn. Olivia deliberately. Made a mistake? overcorrecting and causing the virtual craft to spin. The alien made a clicking sound that might have been disappointment. Again, it ordered, for the next hour. Olivia carefully walked the line, showing enough aptitude to keep them interested, but making enough mistakes to hide her true abilities. She needed time to understand her situation before revealing anything. When the session ended, the alien seemed unsatisfied. "Your results are inconsistent with your brain scan. Perhaps we were mistaken." "I told you," Olivia said, shrugging. "I make coffee. I've never flown anything." "We will try once more tomorrow," the alien said. "If you show no improvement, you will be returned and someone else selected." Olivia was taken to a small room with a bed and basic facilities. The door locked behind her. Alone for the first time since her capture, she sat on the edge of the bed and considered her options. The aliens had technology far beyond Earth's capabilities. If they sent her back, she would lose the chance to learn about their ships. But if she showed too much skill too quickly, they might become suspicious. She decided on a strategy. She would improve just enough each day to look like a fast learner rather than an experienced pilot. The next morning, 2 Zyraxians brought her back to the simulator room. This time, Olivia performed slightly better, making fewer obvious mistakes. "Your learning curve is steep for a human," the officer noted. Olivia shrugged. "I played a lot of video games as a kid." For the next 3 days, this pattern continued. Olivia steadily improved her skills, carefully observing the aliens and their technology. She learned that the Zyraxians were collecting humans with specific talents from around the world, not just pilots, but engineers, mathematicians, and others with specialized neural patterns. On the 4th day, the officer informed her that she had qualified for advanced training. "You will be transferred to our main vessel," it said. "Your skills are sufficient." Olivia was taken to a smaller craft that would transport her to the larger ship orbiting Earth. As they ascended through the atmosphere, she got her first real view of space without the filter of a cockpit window. Despite her situation, she couldn't help feeling a thrill. This was what she had always dreamed of, reaching space. The main Zyraxian vessel was enormous. From the outside, it looked like a dark metal city floating in space. As they docked, Olivia saw dozens of smaller craft coming and going like busy insects around a hive. Inside, she was brought to a large hall where about 30 other humans waited. They were dressed in identical gray jumpsuits, like the one she had been given. Some looked terrified, others curious, and a few had the alert, measured expressions of military personnel. One man looked at her, and his eyes widened in recognition. He was tall with short brown hair and the straight posture of a military pilot. "Martinez?" he said, stepping toward her. "Olivia Martinez?" Olivia froze. She hadn't heard anyone use her last name in years. "I think you're mistaking me for someone else," she said quickly. The man shook his head. "No way. You were in the Aurora program. I saw your picture 100 times. You broke every record in the books before you disappeared. Everyone thought you were dead after that classified incident." Other humans turned to look at them now, curious about the exchange. A nearby Zyraxian also seemed to be listening. "I don't know what you're talking about," Olivia insisted, but she could see the man didn't believe her. "I'm Alan Parker. I was just starting pilot training when you were already a legend. They still talk about your skills." Before Olivia could respond, the tall Zyraxian officer from the smaller ship approached them. "Is this true?" it asked. "You concealed your abilities from us?" The room went quiet. Olivia realized her cover was blown. The careful act she had maintained was useless now. She straightened her back, falling into the posture of the officer she once was. There was no point in lying anymore. "Yes," she said. "Where I come from, you never show your full hand to a potential enemy." The Zyraxian stared at her for a long moment. Then, to her surprise, it made a sound that might have been laughter. "Wise," it said. "Perhaps your species has more potential than we anticipated." The alien turned to address all the humans in the Asahur room. "You are here because your brains work in ways ours cannot. Your unpredictability may be what saves us all." "Saves you from what?" Alan asked. The Zyraxian's expression grew serious. "The real reason we came to Earth. We are not conquerors. We are refugees, and we need your help." The room fell silent as the humans processed what the Zyraxian had just said. Refugees, not invaders. The alien officer, who introduced itself as Commander Vex, explained further. "We are fleeing from a species called the Draxum," Vex said. "They have destroyed many of our worlds. They will reach your solar system soon." "And you need pilots?" Olivia asked, now speaking freely as Captain Martinez rather than the quiet barista from Nebraska. "Yes, our species lacks certain neural connections that yours possesses. We cannot perform the quick, instinctive maneuvers needed for combat flying. Our ships are advanced, but without the right pilots, they cannot defeat the Draxum fleet." After the meeting, the humans were divided into groups based on their skills. Engineers went to one section of the ship, scientists to another. Olivia, Alan, and 12 other pilots were taken to an advanced training area. "Now that we know your true abilities, Captain Martinez, we will begin real training," Vex said to Olivia. "No more games." The simulator she was assigned to now was much more complex than the previous one. It matched the cockpit of the Zyraxian's most advanced fighter craft. "Show me what you can really do," Vex said. Olivia placed her hands on the controls and this time didn't hold back. Her mind connected to the ship's systems with practiced ease. On the virtual display, her craft performed maneuvers that made even the Zyraxian trainers stare in surprise. "Remarkable," Vex said when she finished the simulation. "Your neural patterns during flight are unlike anything we've seen." "I was the test pilot for experimental aircraft," Olivia explained. "My job was to fly things that shouldn't be able to fly." The other human pilots watched with a mixture of respect and jealousy. Alan approached her during a break period. "The legends didn't do you justice," he said. "Why did you disappear? What happened after the Aurora incident?" Olivia looked around to make sure no Zyraxians were listening. "The aircraft I was testing that day shouldn't have existed. It used technology that violated international treaties. When it malfunctioned and nearly caused a catastrophe, the government decided it was easier to erase both of us than admit what they'd done." "And you've been hiding ever since?" "Making coffee in a small town where no one asks questions," she confirmed. "Until now." Over the next few days, Olivia's training intensified. She not only mastered the Zyraxian ships, but began suggesting improvements to their systems. The aliens were surprised by her ideas. During one training session, she was introduced to a Zyraxian engineer named Krell. Unlike the others, Krell was smaller with lighter blue skin and 6 fingers on each hand. "Your flying techniques should not work," Krell said as they reviewed her simulation data. "You break our established rules of flight." "Sometimes breaking rules is how you survive," Olivia replied. Krell seemed fascinated by this concept. "Humans think differently. It is why we need you." As days passed, Olivia and Krell developed an unlikely friendship. The engineer began showing her systems beyond the flight simulators, including communication arrays and navigation computers. "I should not share this much," Krell admitted, "but your understanding may help improve our chances of survival." While learning about the communication systems, Olivia discovered something disturbing. She could access data about the Draxum fleet, and what she found contradicted what the humans had been told. "The Draxum are closer than you've admitted." She confronted Krell during a private moment. Weeks away, not months. Krell's skin paled slightly. How did you access those files? The same way I learned to fly your ships, I figured it out. Olivia crossed her arms. What else aren't you telling us? After a long silence, Krell spoke quietly. Not all Zyraxians view humans the same way. Commander Vex values your abilities. But others, the engineer paused. Others see your kind as tools to be used and discarded. What does that mean? The first wave of our defense will be led by human pilots. Many Zyraxians believe this is acceptable because you are not our species. Olivia felt cold anger rise inside her. Ken, fodder, you're planning to sacrifice us first. Not all of us agree with this strategy, Krell insisted. I have come to respect humans, to respect you. But I am not in command. Olivia paced the small room where they had been talking. Her mind raced through possibilities. I need to warn others, she said. If you do, they may refuse to fly. Then the Draxum will destroy both our species. There has to be another way, Olivia said. A strategy that doesn't treat humans as disposable. Krell looked at her with large, serious eyes. Perhaps there is, but it would require Commander Vex to listen to a human's battle plan. Then I need to see Vex, Olivia decided. Now. Krell led her through restricted areas of the ship until they reached the command center. Commander Vex was surprised by their arrival, but agreed to speak with them. Commander, Olivia said, standing tall despite being a foot shorter than this alien. I've learned about your current defense strategy, and it will fail. You should not have access to that information, Vex replied coldly. But I do. And I'm telling you, sending human pilots as the first wave is both wrong and tactically flawed. We have calculated. Your calculations don't account for human psychology, Olivia interrupted. If pilots know they're being sacrificed, they won't fight at their best. But if they're fighting to protect both our species as equals, they'll exceed your expectations. Vex stared at her for a long moment. What do you propose instead? Let me show you a better way, Olivia said. A strategy that protects both humans and Zyraxians. She outlined her plan, drawing on her military training and what she had learned about Zyraxian technology. Instead of waves of attacks, she proposed integrated squadrons with both species working together, each complementing the other's strengths. Your plan is unconventional, Vex said when she finished. Unconventional wins wars when conventional. Thinking fails, Olivia replied. Let me demonstrate in a full-scale simulation. Vex considered for a moment, then nodded. Tomorrow. You will show me this strategy in action. If it proves superior, I will present it to the council. As Olivia left with Krell, the engineer looked at her with new respect. If your plan succeeds, Krell said, it will change how my kind views humans forever. And if it doesn't, Olivia replied, none of us may live to worry about it. The next day, Olivia stood in the Zyraxian command center, surrounded by high-ranking aliens. Commander Vex had arranged for her to demonstrate her battle strategy in their most advanced simulation system. The other human pilots, including Alan, were also present, watching with curious expressions. This simulation will use real data from previous Draxum attacks, Vex explained to the gathered observers. Captain Martinez will show us her alternative defense plan. Olivia stepped into the center of the room where a holographic display appeared around her. The control panel responded to her thoughts as she called up a model of the solar system and the approaching Draxum fleet. The current Zyraxian strategy places human pilots at the front, she began, showing the original battle formation. Red dots represented human ships, blue dots showed Zyraxian vessels. This wastes our potential and creates a weak first line of defense. Some of the Zyraxians shifted uncomfortably at her blunt assessment. My strategy instead creates mixed teams. Olivia continued. The display changed to show new formations with red and blue dots intermingled in small groups. Each squadron combines human adaptability with Zyraxian technical expertise. We complement each other's strengths and cover each other's weaknesses. She ran the simulation, showing how the mixed squadrons would engage the enemy. The holographic battle unfolded around them, ships moving according to her programmed tactics. Humans can perform maneuvers Zyraxians find difficult, she explained as a red dot performed a complex evasive pattern. And Zyraxians can operate weapon systems more precisely than we can. A blue dot fired with perfect accuracy after the red. Dot's maneuver placed them in position. When the simulation ended, the display showed significantly lower losses than the original plan. The Zyraxian officers murmured among themselves. This strategy requires trust between our species, Vex noted. Trust that does not yet exist. We can build it, Olivia insisted. Starting now, by training together instead of separately. After a long discussion, Vex made a decision. We will test your approach. Starting tomorrow, human and Zyraxian pilots will train in mixed squadrons. The new training sessions were challenging. Cultural differences and communication problems caused frequent misunderstandings. Olivia worked with Krell to develop a simplified command language that both species could use effectively. Your words are too plex, Krell complained during one frustrating session. Our brains process language differently. Then we'll use fewer words, Olivia decided. Basic commands, numbers, and directions. The rest we can communicate through. The ship's systems. Slowly, the mixed squadrons began to function as teams. Olivia often stayed awake late into the night, reviewing training data and refining tactics. During one such late session, Krell brought her news that made her blood run. Cold. Our long-range sensors had detected the Draxum fleet, the engineer said quietly. They will reach us in 3 days, not 2 weeks as we predicted. 3 days? Olivia put down her datapad. That's not enough time to finish training. The council is meeting now to decide whether to return to the original plan. Olivia hurried with Krell to the council chamber. They were stopped at the entrance by guards. Humans are not permitted, one guard stated. This human must speak, Krell argued. Her plan may be our only hope. After several tense minutes, they were allowed inside. The council chamber was a large circular room with 7 elder Zyraxians seated on elevated platforms. Vex stood before them, apparently in the middle of a heated discussion. The human strategy is unproven, one elder was saying. We should rely on our original plan. The human plan shows better results in simulation, Vex countered. Simulations are not reality, another elder responded. Olivia stepped forward. Council members, I request permission to speak. The elders looked surprised at her interruption. After a moment, the central figure nodded. You may address the council, human. The Draxum will arrive in 3 days, Olivia said. We don't have time to perfect either strategy, but I believe mine offers the best chance for both our species. To survive. Why should we trust the fate of our people to a human plan? Asked one elder. Because I have as much to lose as you do, Olivia replied. Earth is my home. Everyone I care about is there. I want to protect it as much as you want to protect your people. She projected images from the simulator showing the latest training results. Our mixed squadrons are already performing better than expected. With 3 more days of intensive training, we can be ready. The council deliberated while Olivia, Krell, and Vex waited. Finally, the lead elder spoke. We will proceed with the human strategy, but with one condition. Captain Martinez must personally lead the defense from the command ship. If her plan fails, she will bear responsibility. I accept, Olivia said without hesitation. The next 3 days were a blur of intense preparation. Olivia barely slept as she worked with both human and Zyrexian pilots to prepare for battle. The mixed squadrons ran constant drills, improving their coordination with each practice. On the eve of the expected Draxum arrival, Olivia found a quiet moment alone in an observation deck, looking out at the stars and the distant blue sphere of Earth. Alan found her there. Nervous? He asked, joining her at the viewport. Terrified, she admitted. But don't tell anyone else that. Your secret's safe with me? He smiled briefly, then grew serious. For what it's worth, I think your plan is our best shot. The Zyraxians never would have come up with it on their own. That's the whole point, Olivia said. We think differently. Together, we're stronger than either species alone. I just hope the Draxum don't realize that before it's too late for them. An alarm sounded throughout the ship, cutting their conversation. Short, Krell's voice came over the communication system. Captain Martinez to Command Center immediately. Long-range scanners have detected Draxum vessels entering the solar system. They will reach our position in 6 hours. Olivia took one last look at Earth. Time to see if this plan actually works, she said to Alan. Good luck, Captain, he replied with a salute dot as Olivia hurried toward the command center. She felt the weight of 2 worlds resting on her shoulders. Everything she had trained for in her past life had prepared her for this moment. The barista from Nebraska was gone. Captain Martinez was back in command, and she was ready to fly once more. The command center buzzed with activity as Olivia arrived. Zyraxian officers moved quickly between stations, preparing for battle. Commander Vex stood at the central platform, studying a large holographic display of the solar system. Red markers showed the approaching Draxum fleet. Captain Martinez, Vex greeted her. The enemy will reach Jupiter's orbit in 5 hours, and our position near Earth shortly after. Olivia studied the display. The Draxum fleet was larger than she had expected. She counted at least 50 large warships and hundreds of smaller vessels. Are all squadrons ready? She asked. Final preparations are underway, Vex replied. Your pilots are boarding their ships now. I should be with them, Olivia said. She had trained to fly, not to command from a distance. The Council ordered you to remain here, Vex reminded her. Your strategic mind is needed to coordinate the defense. Olivia nodded reluctantly. As much as she wanted to fly, she knew Vex was right. From the command center, she could see the whole battle and direct their forces. For the next 4 hours, Olivia worked with the Zyraxian command team to finalize their plans. Each mixed squadron received specific assignments. The humans would handle the complex flight maneuvers, while the Zyraxians would operate the advanced weapon systems. All squadrons report ready, Krell announced from the communication station. Good, Olivia said. Keep the channel open. I want to address all pilots. When the connection was established, Olivia spoke clearly. This is Captain Martinez. In 1 hour, we will face the Draxum fleet. Remember your training. Trust your squadron mates, regardless of species. Today we fight not as humans or Zyraxians, but as defenders of both our worlds. A chorus of acknowledgments came back over the channel. She recognized Alan's voice among them. We're with you, Captain, he said. Just tell us where to fly. As the minutes ticked by, tension grew in the command center. The first Draxum ships appeared on the long-range sensors, approaching faster than predicted. They've increased speed, Vex said, concern in his voice. They will reach us in 20 minutes, not 1 hour. Move our forces into position now, Olivia ordered. We need to be ready. On the display, blue markers representing their mixed squadrons moved into formation. The defensive line looked small compared to the approaching red wave of enemy ships. Draxum fleet entering visual range. Reported a sensor officer. The main screen switched to show the enemy ships. They were angular and dark, with glowing red lines across their hulls. They moved with a precision that suggested advanced automation. "They're launching fighters," Krell called out. "Hundreds of them." "All squadrons, engage according to plan," Olivia commanded. "Remember your training." The battle began. On the tactical display, blue and red markers clashed. The command center filled with reports from squadron leaders and damage assessments. Olivia watched intently, issuing new orders as the situation changed. Her mixed squadron strategy was working. The human pilots performed maneuvers that confused the Draxum targeting systems, while the Xeraxian weapons officers struck with deadly accuracy. Enemy ships began to fall, but the Draxum were adapting. They started to predict the patterns in the human flight paths. "Squadron 7 is taking heavy losses," Krell reported urgently. "The Draxum have broken through our line." Olivia saw it on the display. A group of enemy ships had pushed past their defenses and was heading straight for Earth. "We need to close that gap," she said. "All nearby squadrons are engaged," Vex replied. "We have nothing to send." Olivia looked at the hangar status on a side screen. "There's still one ship available. The prototype." Vex shook his head. "The TX-9 is untested in real combat. Even our best pilots couldn't handle it in simulation." "I can fly it," Olivia said firmly. "The Council ordered you to remain here," Vex reminded her. "If those Draxum ships reach Earth, the Council's orders won't matter," Olivia argued. "I'm the only one who might be able to fly that ship effectively." After a moment of hesitation, Vex nodded. "Go." Olivia ran through the corridors toward the hangar. Krell met her there, holding a flight suit. "The TX-9 responds directly to neural input," Krell explained as Olivia quickly changed. "It will feel different from the simulators." "I'll manage," Olivia said, climbing into the sleek, black ship, the cockpit sealed around her. Instead of physical controls, the ship had neural interface pads where she placed her hands. The systems came alive, connecting directly to her mind. "Captain Martinez, what are you doing?" Alan's voice came through her comm. "The prototype isn't combat ready." "No choice," she replied as she guided the ship out of the hangar. "Those Draxum fighters will reach Earth if I don't stop them." The TX-9 responded to her thoughts with incredible speed. It accelerated faster than any craft she had ever flown, human or Xeraxian. She quickly caught up to the Draxum ships heading for Earth. There were 12 of them, all focused on reaching the planet. They didn't expect an attack from behind. Olivia struck the rear ship first, her weapons tearing through its engines. The other Draxum ships scattered, now aware of her presence. They were fast, but the TX-9 was faster. Olivia's mind connected deeply with the ship, almost feeling like the vessel was an extension of her body. She twisted and turned through space, firing with precision she had never achieved before. 4 enemy ships fell quickly. The others tried to coordinate an attack against her, but Olivia's unpredictable movements made her impossible to target. 2 more Draxum fighters exploded as her weapons found their mark. "Captain, 3 Draxum capital ships have broken formation," Vex's voice informed her. "They're heading your way." Olivia saw the massive warships approaching on her sensors. They were too large for her to defeat alone. "All available squadrons, converge on my position," she called out. "I need backup." Alan's voice responded. "Squadron 4 en route, Captain." "Hold on." Olivia continued her dance with the remaining Draxum fighters. The TX-9 pushed to its limits as she demanded more speed, more responsiveness. Warning lights flashed in the cockpit. As systems began to overload, just as the Draxum capital ships came within firing range, human and Xyraxian fighters arrived. They attacked in perfect coordination, overwhelming the enemy vessels with their combined tactics. The battle raged for another hour, but the tide had turned. The Draxum fleet, expecting an easy victory, found themselves outmaneuvered by the mixed squadrons. One by one, their ships retreated or were destroyed. When the last enemy vessel jumped away from Earth, cheers erupted throughout the Xyraxian command ships and the human fighters. Olivia guided the damaged TX-9 back to the hangar, her hands shaking. From exhaustion and adrenaline dot as she climbed out of the cockpit, she found Krell, Vex, and Alan waiting for her. "You did it," Alan said, his face showing both exhaustion and relief. "Earth is safe." "We all did it," Olivia corrected him. "Together." Vex approached her with a formal bow. "The Council wishes to speak with you, Captain Martinez. Your strategy has saved both our worlds." They are. Reconsidering their view of humans, Olivia smiled tiredly. "Tell them I'll be there soon. First, I need to contact Earth. There's a small town in Nebraska that probably thinks I've been abducted." "By aliens?" "You were," Krell pointed out. "True," Olivia laughed. "But it turns out that was exactly where I needed to be." As she looked out the hangar viewport at the blue planet below, Olivia thought about the coffee shop and her quiet life. That chapter was over now. The hidden pilot had emerged when her world needed her most, and in doing so, had found her true place among the stars.